Greeting guys, my name is Sabisile Masinga. Along with my groupmates, we're going to be doing a presentation based on gender. So what is gender? Gender is a range of characteristics pertaining to and differentiating between masculinity and femininity. Now going further and looking at the words masculinity and femininity, I'm going to define these words for you. Masculinity, also known as manliness or manhood, is a set of attributes, behaviors, and roles associated with boys and men. As a social construct, it is distinct from a definition of the male biological sex. Standards of manliness or masculinity vary across different cultures and historical periods. Both males and females can exhibit masculine traits and behavior. Now looking at femininity, also called girlishness or womanliness or womanhood. Now this is a set of attributes, behaviors, and roles generally associated with girls and women. Femininity is partially socially constructed, being made up of both socially defined and biologically created factors. This makes it distinct from the definition of the biological female sex, as both males and females can exhibit feminine traits. My groupmates are going to tell you more about this topic, and they're going to tell you about the sociological views of gender and also their critiques based on gender.
In sociology, we make a distinction between sex and gender. Sex are the biological traits that society uses to assign people into the category of either male or female, whether it be a focus of chromosome, genitalia, or some other physical aspect. When people talk about differences between men and women, they are often drawing on sex, on breed, ideas of biology, rather than gender, which is an understanding of how society has shaped our understanding of those biological categories. Gender is more fluid. It may or may not depend upon biological traits. Most specifically, it is a concept that describes how society defines and manages sex categories. The partial meaning attached to men and women's roles and how individuals understand their identity, including but not limited to being a man, woman, transgender, intersex, gender, genderqueer, and other gender positions. Gender involves social norms, attitudes, and activities that society deems more appropriate for one sex over another. Gender is also determined by what an individual feels and does. Gender and sexuality are not just personal identities. They are social identities. They arise from our relations to other people, and they depend upon social interaction and social recognition. As such, they influence how we understand ourselves in action to others. Sex and gender is not only alike. Cisgender describes people whose biological bodies they were born into matches their personal gender identity. This experience is distinct from being transgender, which is when one's biological sex does not align with the gender identity.
Greetings to you all. My name is Amanda Mdluli, and today we'll be looking at the background information of the functionalist theory. But before we get further, what we should ask ourselves is, what is the functionalist theory or functionalism? The functionalist perspective, also called functionalism, is one of the major theoretical perspectives in sociology. It has its origins in the works of Emile Durkheim, who was especially interested in how social order is possible or how society remains relatively stable. As such, it is a theory that focuses on the macro level of social structure rather than on the micro level of everyday life. Notable theorists include Herbert Spencer, Talcott Parsons, and Robert Curtin. Functionalism has been critiqued by many sociologists for its neglect of the often negative implications of social order. Some critics, like Italian theorist Antonio Gramsci, claim that the perspective justifies the status quo and the process of cultural hegemony, which maintains it. Functionalism does not encourage people to take an active role in changing their social environment, even when doing so may benefit them. Instead, functionalism sees agitating for social change as undesirable because the various parts of society will compensate in seemingly natural way for any problems that may arise.
Greetings, my name is Boaz Simpiwe, and I'm here to elaborate on how functionalists view gender. Functionalists argue that gender roles were established well before the pre-industrial era, when men took responsibilities outside of the homes, such as hunting, and women took care of the domestic responsibility in or around the home. And nowadays, men go to work and they earn a salary and they provide for the family, whereas women are stay-at-home wives and they cook and they clean and they also take care of the children. The roles were considered functional. Why was that? Because women were often limited by the physical limitations such as pregnancy and nursing and unable to leave the home for a long period of time. Once established, these rules were passed on to generation from generation, and they have served as an effective means of keeping the family system functioning properly. In my home, my mother taught me how to cook and taught me how to look after my little brothers and my sisters, just as much as she was taught by my grandmother to cook and do the laundry and take care of the household as well. As you can see in this picture, it's only men who are doing the hunting, and they're gonna hunt and bring food back home, where the women are gonna prepare the meals for the men and the children. Also, according to the functionalists, changes occurred in the social and economic climate of the United States. So when we're talking about the United States, it also affects South Africa. We're talking here in a period that was during World War II, where there was a change in family structure that occurred. Many women had to assure the roles of being a breadwinner along that domestic role in order to stabilize a rapid change society. So when the men returned from the war, they wanted to claim their jobs. Then the society fell back into a state of imbalance, as women did not want to pertain their wage earning position. In this case, we talk of gender roles. What am I talking about when I'm talking about gender roles? Gender roles is a set of behavior that is considered normal by a particular gender or by a particular society. It is also a distinction of sex, which can be biological or by gender, which is socially constructed. While others express two genders, some express more than one or two. It goes on. Well, we're still talking about the view of functionalists. What do they say? They also say that they also believe that gender roles are formed to establish a division of labor, which is to help maintain a stability in the society. In this perspective, boys and girls are taught differently. Girls are taught to maintain their stability as they grow, while boys are taught to be goal-orientated and focus on tasks of family outside. And girls are expressive and taking care of the family and how they should react with emotions to others. What am I talking about when I'm talking about division of labor? Things as household division of labor have the way in which tasks are run in the household and how they're contributing. We're talking as tasks including childcare, cooking, cleaning, laundry, yard working, household maintenance, financial accounting, key and keeping, and car maintenance. All the studies have come to us to two conclusions. The first conclusion is that women do large shares household labor of all types and men actually do. The second conclusion is that women and men perform totally different types of tasks within the household. And lastly, I think this picture explains everything. Thank you very much.
Greetings to all. My name is Nwanda Zulu. I'm going to be discussing gender according to conflict theories. According to conflict theory, society is a struggle for dominance among social groups, like women versus men, that compete for scarce resources. When sociologists examine gender from this perspective, we can view men as a dominant group and women as a subordinate group. According to conflict theory, social problems are created when dominant groups exploit or oppress subordinate groups. For this case, when men exploit women. Consider the women's suffrage movement or debate over women's right to choose their reproductive futures. It is difficult for women to rise above men as dominant groups, as dominant group members, create the rules for success and opportunity in society. Friedrich Engels, a German sociologist, studied family structure and gender roles. Engels suggested that the same owner-worker relationship is seen in the labor force as also in the household, with women assuming the role of proletariat. This is due to women's dependency on men for the attainment of wages, which is even worse for women who are entirely dependent upon their spouses for economic support. Contemporary conflict theories suggest that when women became wage earners, they can gain power in the family structure and create more democratic arrangement in their home, although they may still carry the majority of the domestic burden, as noted earlier.
Hi, please you all. My name is Samuel Son. I will be continuing on the critiques of conflict theory and also look at the critiques of functionalists on gender. So, okay, looking at this slide, conflict theorists believe that men are dominant over women. Women are supposed to be subordinate to men. But when you look at this picture, you can see that this is Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, one of the most powerful women, not only in South Africa, but in all of Africa. So this is contrary to what the conflict theorists emphasize, that women are supposed to be subordinate. And if you look at this woman, she has achieved more than what her husband has achieved, meaning that nowadays women are no longer inferior to men. So it's more like we are equal nowadays. And also, the society is trying to bridge the gap between men and women. So they are trying to eradicate what is called inequality of gender. So, and when you look at conflict theory, it is somehow taking us back to those days whereby we had gender inequality, whereas we are trying to promote gender equality. Then going on to the critiques of functionalist theory. So functionalist theory, they believe that the roles of gender or gender roles, they were invented in order to promote stability in the society, based on the fact that in the society there are duties which require physical strength, and there are duties that require that does not require physical strength. So back in the days, I would say that back in the days it was applicable because they depended on hunting, and also there was no protection, so men were the one who were to protect their families. But nowadays, no one is there is no longer such thing as hunting, and there is no longer there are no more jobs that require physical strength. Even in the industry, there is equipment which reduces human effort. So there is no longer a need for physical strength, and women have proven that they can do what men can do. So there is no longer a need for the division of labor. But what is needed is for men and women to work together in order to promote equality in the society. So I will go on further to also look at our collage that we have designed. Okay, you can cut for now.
Hello everyone, my name is Bata, and I will be continuing where my colleague left on conflict theory. Okay, as you can see in the slide, we have two pictures, which is the women and the men. As you can see that the man here is wearing a formality, a suit, which means he has to go to work and provide for the family. And the woman has to stay home and take care of the kids and everything. Do all the chores, and then she has to be subordinate to the dominant mate. As we see here, it's also elaborated more on the picture we have seen above, where a man sits on a chair, reads a newspaper after he has come back from work, and the woman has to do and abide by the law that's set by men, which by accompanied by the conflict theory, whereby women are subordinates and the men are dominant. We're going to go through the critique of the conflict theory. Okay. The critique view of the gender through the conflict theory perspective is that society always experiences tension among themselves. There's a competition of power which is distributed unevenly between men and the female. The men are viewed as a dominant part to the society, and they have the power and the authority over the female. So, in this point, sociologists argue that men are seen as the weight earners of their household, and as a result, being have a great deal of power and influence within the family decisions, which means by they can only they are the only one who have the authority to give or apply the laws and the rules and the regulations that have to be applied by the family. Women are subordinate, as we have mentioned, and mainly that's because of the traditionally they depend on their spouses for economical support, the direction, how to run a family, and the successful family system. And then we go to further, whereby the conflict theory emphasizes more between men and women and the treatment towards the same success. Women nowadays have the same success as men, whereby women can be found having in power over the female. Even so, we can say that even in modern time, the theory suggests that women have to be abided by the laws that are set by their spouses or their husband, which still results in the main whereby we say men are still dominant over women. Women can work, have the same successful as men, and then when the woman comes home, he has to obey the laws which are set by the men, and still have to do the majority of chores